Picture this: a snowy Christmas Eve. And a mother's heart shattered on her own son's doorstep. I know what you're thinking. How could a mother end up abandoned in the freezing cold by the child she raised? But trust me, this story will shock you. And the revenge. It's not what you'd expect. It's better. Let me introduce you to Elaine Morrison, 70, 2 years old, widowed for 23 years, and about to have the worst and weirdly, the best Christmas of her entire life. Elaine wasn't always alone. 23 years ago, she had Richard, her husband of 27 years, a construction supervisor with rough hands and a gentle heart. They weren't wealthy, but they were happy. Then Richard had a massive heart attack on a Tuesday morning. Collapsed right there on the job site, and never came home. Matthew was only 15. Can you imagine? One day you're a family of 3, the next you're a widow with a grieving teenager, and bills piling up like snow in a blizzard. But Elaine didn't crumble. She couldn't afford to. She worked double shifts as a hospital receptionist. Picked up weekend cleaning jobs at office buildings. Ate discount groceries so Matthew could have proper meals. She wore the same winter coat for 12 years. 12 years so her son could go to college. When Matthew got accepted to a decent university 3 hours away, Elaine sold Richard's vintage motorcycle, the one possession she'd kept for sentimental value, to cover his first semester's expenses, and Matthew, he thrived, got his business degree, landed a corporate job, married Ashley. A sharp-featured woman with expensive tastes and a smile that never quite reached her eyes. Elaine noticed that smile at the wedding 7 years ago. Noticed how Ashley's gaze lingered on the modest venue, the simple decorations, the budget-friendly catering. But she pushed the feeling down. Matthew was happy. That's what mattered, right? Wrong, so very wrong. Over the years, Elaine became Matthew's personal ATM. It started small: a loan for their apartment deposit, help with Ashley's credit card debt, money for a work emergency, that was actually a luxury vacation to the Bahamas. Elaine discovered that little detail from Ashley's Facebook photos, #blessed and living our best life. The requests grew bolder. A down payment contribution for their house. Ashley's designer handbag obsession funded by just a small loan mom. Matthew's new car when his old one was perfectly fine. Elaine gave it all. Why? Because he was her son. Because she remembered him at 8 years old, crying in her arms after Richard died, whispering, "I'll take care of you when I'm big, mama." She held on to that promise like a life raft. Her neighbor Dolores, a retired teacher with sharp eyes and no patience for nonsense, had warned her. "Elaine, honey, you're being used," Dolores said over coffee one October morning, her hands wrapped around a chipped mug. "When's the last time Matthew visited you? When's the last time they invited you over without wanting something?" Elaine had defended him. Made excuses: "They're busy, Dolores. Matthew has a demanding job. Ashley's involved in her charity events." Even saying it out loud felt hollow. But this Christmas, Elaine decided things would be different. She'd initiated the visit herself. Called Matthew in early December, her voice bright with hope. "Sweetheart, I love to spend Christmas with you and Ashley this year. I could bring my famous gingerbread cookies, maybe help with dinner." The pause on the other end lasted too long. Yeah, Mom, sure. Christmas, I'll check with Ashley and text you." The text never came. Elaine sent gentle reminders. "Still on for Christmas, should I bring anything special?" Radio silence. Then 2 days before Christmas, she called again. "Mom, Ashley's family is coming over, and it's gonna be pretty crowded. I won't take up much space, honey. I just want to see you. It's been since Easter, remember?" Another painful pause. "Okay, fine, but don't expect anything fancy. Ashley's stressed enough with her family. Don't expect anything fancy." From the woman who'd given him everything. But Elaine pushed down the hurt, focused on the joy. She spent 2 full days baking gingerbread cookies shaped like stars and trees, her famous pecan pie with the recipe she'd perfected over 30 years, fudge brownies that Matthew used to devour as a kid. She wrapped presents carefully. A cashmere scarf for Ashley in a trendy cream color, the expensive noise-canceling headphones Matthew had mentioned wanting, and a framed photo she'd restored of Richard holding baby Matthew, both grinning at the camera. Christmas Eve arrived, with that crystalline beauty only winter can deliver. Fresh snow coated everything like powdered sugar. Elaine's ancient Han wheezed and protested, but she coaxed it through the 3-hour drive to Matthew's upscale neighborhood. where houses glowed with elaborate light displays and luxury SUVs lined pristine driveways. Her heart hammered with anticipation as she parked in front of Matthew's two-story colonial with its picture-perfect wreaths and icicle lights. She could hear it already: laughter, Christmas music, warmth. She grabbed her bags of gifts and treats, her hands trembling slightly, and walked up the shoveled pathway. The doorbell chimed cheerfully. Through the frosted glass, she saw movement, heard voices go quiet. The door swung open, and there stood Ashley in a designer cocktail dress the color of champagne, her blonde hair in perfect waves, her expression morphing from surprise to something unmistakably cold. Elaine, not Mom, never Mom. Just her name, flat and unwelcoming. Merry Christmas, Ashley. We weren't actually expecting you. Ashley's voice could have frozen the already icy air. Behind her, Elaine glimpsed the warm glow of their home, heard the clink of glasses, smelled roasted turkey and cinnamon. Matthew said I could come. We talked about it. Matthew says a lot of things. Ashley's manicured hand tightened on the doorframe. This is a family gathering, Elaine. We have my parents, my sister and her kids. There's really no room. No room. In their massive house with its 6 bedrooms and open-concept living space. I don't need much space, I can help in the kitchen, or just sit quietly. Matthew. Ashley called over her shoulder, her eyes never leaving Elaine. Your mother's here. Matthew appeared, looking uncomfortable in his pressed shirt and designer jeans. His face, so much like Richard's had been, flickered with something guilt, annoyance, before settling into resignation. Hey Mom, listen, now's really not a good time. Those words. Can you feel that? The way your stomach drops when someone you love treats you like an inconvenience. Matthew, I drove 3 hours. I brought your favorites, I brought gifts. We didn't ask you to do that, Ashley cut in, her voice rising slightly. Inside, Elaine heard conversation stop. They were listening. Ashley's perfect family was listening to her humiliate an elderly woman on Christmas Eve. Honestly, Elaine. You can't just show up and expect everyone to drop everything. We have plans. Real family plans. Real family. The words hit like a slap. Ashley, that's my mother, Matthew said, but his voice had no strength, no conviction. He wasn't defending Elaine. He was just going through the motions. Your mother who haven't visited in 8 months, Matthew. Your mother who you only call when you need money. Let's be honest here. Elaine's face burned despite the cold. Matthew, please, it's Christmas. He couldn't even look at her. This man she'd sacrificed everything for, who she'd worked herself to exhaustion to support, stood there shifting his weight like a guilty teenager, while his wife eviscerated what was left of Elaine's dignity. You should go, Mom, we'll catch up after the holidays. Are you seriously telling me to leave? It's Christmas Eve, Matthew. It's -6 degrees out here. You have a car, Ashley said flatly. Drive home, or find a hotel, but you can't stay here disrupting our family celebration. And then Matthew, her son, her baby boy, nodded. Actually nodded in agreement. I'm sorry, Mom. Maybe next time call ahead properly. The door closed, just like that. The sound of that door clicking shut might be the loneliest sound in the world. Elaine stood there on the doorstep, arms full of gifts and homemade love. While inside the laughter resumed. Someone turned up the music. Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree played mockingly as her tears froze on her cheeks. She stumbled back to her car. Her whole body shaking, from cold, from shock, from heartbreak so profound it felt physical. She sat in the driver's seat, the interior freezing, her breath coming in gasps. She should drive. Find that hotel Ashley mentioned so callously. But she couldn't move, the pain was paralyzing. She called Dolores. Her hands shook so badly she could barely dial. Elaine. Where are you? You sound terrible. They sent me away, Dolores, Matthew and Ashley, it's Christmas and she couldn't finish. Sobs overtook her. Oh honey. Where are you right now? Are you somewhere safe? In my car, outside their house. Listen to me very carefully. Drive to the nearest coffee shop or gas station right now. Right now. Elaine, don't sit there freezing. But Elaine's body wouldn't cooperate. The cold had seeped into her bones. Her thoughts felt fuzzy, slow. She should move. She knew she should move. But the world was tilting, dimming. Elaine. Inside Matthew's house, Ashley's father proposed a toast. Glasses clinked. Matthew drank deeply, avoiding the window where he knew his mother's car was parked. He told himself she'd be fine. She was always fine, wasn't she? Outside. Elaine's phone slipped from her numb fingers. Her eyes closed. The snow kept falling, peaceful and merciless. Dolores panicked on the other end of the dead call. Did what Elaine's own son should have done. She called 911, gave them the address, begged them to check on her friend. She's elderly, she's outside in this weather, please. Please hurry. The ambulance arrived 18 minutes later, lights painting the snow red and blue. The paramedics found Elaine unconscious, her body temperature dangerously low. Her lips tinged blue. Inside the house, the siren cut through Ashley's sister's story about her Cabo vacation. Matthew's blood ran cold. He rushed to the window, saw the ambulance, saw the paramedics lifting someone.
Oh my God, Mom.
He ran outside in his expensive loafers, no coat, skidding on ice. That's my mother. What happened? The lead paramedic, a woman with gray streaked hair and no patience for his panic, gave him a look that could melt steel. Your mother. This woman was found unconscious in her car, suffering from severe hypothermia. How long was she out here? We didn't know she was still. You didn't know? The paramedic's voice dripped with disgust. It's Christmas Eve, -6 degrees. And you didn't know your elderly mother was freezing in a car outside your house. They loaded Elaine into the ambulance. Matthew tried to follow, but the paramedic blocked him. We'll take her to County General. You might want to think about what you're going to say to her when she wakes up. The ambulance pulled away, siren wailing. Matthew stood in the street, snow soaking through his expensive socks, his perfect Christmas Eve shattered. Ashley appeared behind him, arms crossed. Well, this is just great. Now everyone's upset and dinner's getting cold. Matthew turned to look at his wife, and for the first time in their marriage, he saw her clearly. And he was horrified. At County General, Elaine drifted in and out of consciousness. She heard beeping, felt warmth returning painfully to her extremities, saw blurry lights. A kind nurse with gentle hands adjusted her blankets. Whispered, "You're safe now, honey, you're gonna be okay." Dolores arrived before Matthew did, her coat thrown over pajamas. Her face creased with worry. She held Elaine's hand while doctors worked, prayed to God she wasn't sure she believed in, and made a promise to herself. Elaine would never be this vulnerable again. Not if Dolores had anything to say about it. Matthew showed up an hour later, still in his party clothes, smelling of expensive cologne and guilt. He tried to enter Elaine's room, but Dolores blocked him like a linebacker. Absolutely not. That's my mother. Your mother who you left freezing in a car. Your mother who almost died because you were too spineless to stand up to your horrible wife. That mother. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You've been bleeding her dry for years, taking her money, ignoring her except when you need something. And tonight, on Christmas Eve, you shut the door in her face. You're lucky I don't knock you out right here. A nurse intervened before things escalated, but Matthew wasn't allowed in. He sat in the waiting room, head in his hands, while Ashley blew up his phone with messages about how he was embarrassing her in front of her family and making everything about his mother as usual. Elaine woke fully on Christmas morning to winter sunlight streaming through hospital blinds and Dolores dozing in the chair beside her bed, mouth open, snoring softly. For a moment, Elaine felt a rush of love for this friend who'd shown up, who'd fought for her. Then the memories crashed back. The door closing. The cold. Matthew's face. Apologetic but unyielding. Something inside her shifted. Something fundamental and irreversible. The nurse brought breakfast, bland oatmeal and weak coffee. And news that she was recovering well but needed to stay another day for observation. Elaine nodded, picked at her food, and asked for her phone. Dolores woke, saw Elaine awake, and immediately teared up. Oh, thank God. Elaine, you scared me half to death. I scared myself. Elaine's voice was rough. Dolores, I need you to do something for me. Anything. I need you to help me be strong. Because I'm about to burn some bridges, and I can't have second thoughts. Dolores sat up straighter. Now you're talking. Over the next 3 days in the hospital, Elaine made calls. First to her bank, she removed Matthew as a beneficiary and authorized user on all accounts. The representative, a cheerful woman named Sandra, processed the changes efficiently. Second, to her lawyer, a sharp woman who helped her with Richard's estate. I need to update my will immediately, and I need to make sure my son cannot contest it. Third, she blocked Matthew's number. That one hurt. Her finger hovered over the button for a full minute before Dolores gently pressed it for her. You can do this. The texts and voicemails from Matthew had started the day after her hospitalization. Not apologies, not at first. Mom, call me back. We need to talk about what happened. Then, when she didn't respond, Mom, you're being dramatic. We made a mistake, but you don't need to ignore us. Then, when days passed, Mom, this is ridiculous. Call me. And finally, when he apparently checked his bank account, Mom, what the hell? You removed me from your accounts. Are you kidding me right now? Elaine read them with a strange detachment. Like she was reading about someone else's toxic family. Dolores was right there for every moment. Bringing decent coffee from the Starbucks down the street. Helping Elaine sort through old photos on her phone. One photo stopped Elaine cold, Christmas 4 years ago, before Matthew married Ashley. Just mother and son in Elaine's small living room, both wearing ridiculous reindeer sweaters, both laughing. Matthew's arm around her shoulders, genuine affection in his eyes. He used to be different, Elaine whispered. He chose to change, Dolores said firmly. And you get to choose how you respond. On day 3, a package arrived. Forwarded from Elaine's house. Inside was a beautiful family photo from Matthew's Christmas gathering, Matthew and Ashley with her picture, perfect family. All wearing matching red sweaters, everyone smiling brilliantly. There was a note in Ashley's looping handwriting, our family, Christmas 2025. Wishing you health and happiness in the new year. Love, Matthew, Ashley, and the Hendersons. The audacity, the absolute audacity. Dolores saw Elaine's face and grabbed the photo. Oh, they did not. They sent a family photo. From the Christmas they excluded me from. The Christmas I almost died at. Dolores ripped the photo in half. Manipulative garbage. They're trying to make you feel guilty, make you reach out first. It's working. No, Dolores gripped Elaine's hands. You feel sad because you're grieving the son you thought you had. But that son, he doesn't exist anymore. Maybe he never did. And you deserve better than being someone's backup plan and ATM. Something in Elaine straightened. You're right, damn right I'm right. When Elaine was finally discharged, Dolores drove her home to her small but cozy house, the one she'd lived in for 40 years, the one filled with memories of Richard and young Matthew. Walking in felt different. Elaine saw it through new eyes, not as a lonely widow's house but as her sanctuary. Her space. Her life. The voicemails continued. Matthew's tone shifted from annoyed to worried to desperate. Mom, please, I'm sorry, I really am. Ashley's sorry too, we made a terrible mistake. Just talk to me. Then Ashley got involved. Elaine, this is getting out of hand. Matthew is beside himself with worry. We both feel horrible about Christmas Eve. Please, can we just talk like adults? Like adults. The woman who'd called her a disruption wanted to talk like adults. The final message came 2 weeks into January. Mom. I checked with the bank and they said you removed me from your accounts. I don't understand why you're punishing me like this. I said I'm sorry. What more do you want? We need to discuss your finances. You're not getting any younger, and you need someone to help manage your money. Just call me. Please. Dolores listened to that one and actually laughed. He actually thinks he's entitled to your money. After everything. He does. And I let him think that for years. Not anymore though. Not anymore. Elaine started rebuilding. She joined a book club at the library. Something she'd always wanted to do, but never had time for because she was working extra shifts to fund Matthew's lifestyle. She volunteered at a senior center. Helping other elderly people navigate technology and finances. Turned out her experience being taken advantage of made her excellent at spotting the warning signs in others. She redecorated her living room, finally painting it the soft sage green she'd always loved instead of the beige Richard had preferred. She bought herself fresh flowers every week from the farmer's market. Small things, joyful things. She found a box of old letters in the attic. Ones Richard had written her during their courtship. Reading them reminded her of who she'd been before years of widowhood. And being Matthew's bank had worn her down. Richard's words leaped off the page. You're the strongest person I know, Elaine. Never let anyone make you forget that. In March, Matthew showed up at her house. Elaine saw his car pull up through the window and her heart rate spiked there. But Dolores was always there these days. Want me to send him away? Dolores asked. No. I'll talk to him. But you stay. Matthew looked terrible. He'd lost weight, had dark circles under his eyes, and his expensive clothes looked rumpled. He started talking before Elaine even fully opened the door. Mom, thank God, I've been so worried. Why haven't you returned my calls? Why did you cut me off from your accounts? What's going on? Elaine stood in her doorway, Dolores a solid presence behind her, and felt nothing but tired pity. What's going on is that I nearly died, Matthew. I had hypothermia. I was unconscious in my car outside your house while you drank champagne and ate turkey. I caved and I'm so sorry. Are you sorry? Or are you sorry you can't access my bank accounts anymore? He flinched. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? I gave you everything, Matthew. Everything. I worked myself to the bone after your father died to give you opportunities. I paid for your education, your wedding, your house down payment, your credit card bills. When's the last time you asked how I was doing? When's the last time you visited me without needing something? I've been busy. Too busy for your mother, but not too busy to ask for money. Mom, please, I'm not done. Elaine's voice didn't shake, it rang clear and strong. You shut the door in my face on Christmas Eve. You chose Ashley's cruelty over basic human decency. You let me freeze. You let me almost die. And your first concern after I recovered wasn't my health. It was your access to my money. That's not true. I was worried sick. You were worried about yourself. You've been worried about yourself for years. And I enabled it because I loved you. But love isn't supposed to be one-sided, Matthew. Love isn't supposed to hurt this much. Tears streamed down his face. Real tears. But Elaine had seen him cry before. When she wouldn't fund his second car. When she hesitated on Ashley's credit card debt. She'd learned the difference between remorse and manipulation. What can I do to fix this? He whispered. Nothing, there's nothing you can do. I'm done, Matthew. I'm done being your ATM. I'm done being an afterthought. I'm done hoping you'll turn back into the son I thought I raised. You're my mother. And you're my son. But that doesn't give you the right to use me. I've changed my will. I've removed you from my accounts. I'm living my life now, the life I should have been living all along. This is Dolores's fault. She poisoned you against me. Don't you dare, Elaine's voice cut like a knife. Don't you dare blame Dolores for your choices. She showed up at the hospital. She held my hand. She cared when you didn't. You're responsible for your own actions, Matthew. Not Ashley, not Dolores, you. He stood there, tears drying on his face. And Elaine saw the moment he realized begging wouldn't work. His expression hardened. Fine. Don't be surprised when you're all alone and you need help and nobody's there. I'd rather be alone than be used. He turned to leave, stopped, turned back. Mom, goodbye, Matthew. She closed the door softly. And it felt like freedom. Dolores hugged her while she cried, but they weren't tears of regret. They were tears of release, of grief for what never was, of relief for what would never be again. The months that followed were the most peaceful of Elaine's life since Richard died. She traveled, a bus tour to national parks she'd always wanted to see. She reconnected with old friends from her hospital receptionist days. She adopted a senior cat from the shelter, a grumpy tabby named Walter who slept on her lap while she read. Matthew tried reaching out a few more times. But eventually the calls stopped. Elaine heard through the grapevine that he and Ashley were having financial troubles. Turned out funding a lifestyle beyond your means doesn't work when your mother's money stops flowing. She felt no satisfaction in that. No vindictive joy. Just a quiet certainty that she'd made the right choice. 1 year after that terrible Christmas, Elaine spent the holiday with Dolores and a group of friends from her book club. They had a potluck dinner, exchanged small gifts, laughed until their sides hurt. Someone asked Elaine if she missed her son. I miss who I thought he was, Elaine said honestly. But I don't miss the pain. I don't miss feeling used. I don't miss hoping for crumbs of affection. That's called growth, honey, an older woman named Grace said, raising her glass. Here's to cutting off what's toxic and nurturing what feeds your soul. They all toasted. Elaine felt Richard's presence somehow. Imagined him proud of her strength. So here's the thing about revenge. Real revenge isn't about making someone suffer. It's not about getting even or proving a point. Real revenge is reclaiming yourself. It's choosing your peace over their presence. It's understanding that the best way to win is to stop playing their game entirely. Elaine didn't destroy Matthew's life, he was doing that himself. She didn't humiliate Ashley or expose them on social media or any dramatic movie-style payback. She simply withdrew the foundation they'd built their life on, her unwavering support, financial and emotional, and let them figure out how to stand on their own. And herself. She flourished. She discovered that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And once she reached that indifference toward Matthew's manipulation, once she stopped caring about his approval or hoping he'd change, she found something she'd lost decades ago. She found herself. If you've ever been used by family, if you've ever given everything and gotten nothing back, if you've ever wondered whether setting boundaries makes you selfish, listen carefully. You are not a bank. You are not a backup plan. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep ungrateful people warm. Elaine's story isn't just about a cruel Christmas Eve. It's about recognizing when love has become a transaction, when family has become exploitation. It's about having the courage to walk away from toxicity, even when that toxicity shares your DNA. The best revenge is a life well lived, free from those who only value you for what you can give them. Elaine got her revenge by getting her life back. And honestly, that's the sweetest revenge of all. Drop a comment if you've ever had to cut off toxic family members, or if you've been the family bank. Your story matters. You're not alone, and remember, choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival.